In episode number 221, we covered the Spider-Man Homecoming trailer.
We also have Paul Dini very happy right now, going through his bank account and just figuring out what he wants to buy next, because he's no longer ever going to be broke again. That's right, the Gotham City Sirens film.
And we also have a review of a film we saw this week, Moana. At the very end of our podcast, this will be a full spoiler review.
All of this and so much more on today's show.
Hello and welcome to the Reasons I'm Broke podcast, bringing you the reasons we're broke, ranging from comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. I'm Kelly.
And I'm Daniel.
And for those of you joining us for the very first time, welcome to the show. The way we format is first we start out with some news, again ranging comics, movies, TV, video games, and more. And typically we would have a comic book highlight of the week. We're changing it up a little bit this week, skipping that highlight, but as we said in the beginning, we will have a full spoiler review for Moana.
So much movie news, so much comic book news as well, and then of course the review as you mentioned. So it will be a little bit of a longer podcast compared to last week. You, however, have been taking some days off. How's your vacation been?
It's been wonderful. So, you always start out a vacation or a staycation in this case when you're going to be home. You always start out with a plan. My plans always go, okay, first day, I'm just chilling. Like, it's my vacation. I'm not doing anything. I'm going to be lazy. Next day, there's painting I got to do around the house. We got to clean the whole house. There's shit to do and cleaning, and our dishwasher broke, so we got to get like all that bullshit fixed. And so I had my plan. And then the first day of my vacation, my parents bought a puppy. And so I've been on puppy duty, which is way better than like any plans I would have had, but extremely less productive.
Right.
But she's adorable. I think I talked about it on the podcast back in August. Our 14-year-old beagle passed away. So my family was finally at the point where they said, okay, we're ready for another one. And my dad's like, well, we're not going to get a puppy, but let's go to the puppy store and just look at them. Let's just look at them. And we found this little bean, this little Cassie, we named her. And of course she came home with us. But she's the sweetest, smartest dog ever. She's 10 weeks old now, already knows how to use the doggy door, already halfway potty trained. Smart dog.
Smart dog for sure, but she has had help from other older dogs.
Well, granted, yes, she's been learning from them. But, like, Lucy, my parents' other beagle, had help from Abby, and it still took her, 8 years to get potty trained, okay? She's not a smart dog. But Cassie already knows her name. She'll come when I call. She knows... she has to go to the door when she needs to go outside. She uses the doggy door when she can. She's still too little to, push the flap open. Mm-hmm. So, but she knows that that's where she has to go. And when she's done, that's where she has to go back inside. And
our dog Ace is now jealous.
Oh, so jealous.
She now feels what all the other dogs in the family felt when she was new and messing around and fucking trying to play with all the dogs, biting their neck, their collars. She's getting all of that.
Yeah, so our dog is very, very spoiled. She is the baby, and she's been the baby in all the families because she gets puppy sat by our parents who are dying for grandchildren. So she's just super spoiled. She gets held, and she gets to fall asleep on somebody's lap, and she gets fed from the table. Well, now there's this little bean. I've named her Little Bean. And she gets to sit on people's laps, and she gets pets and good girls when she goes outside and goes potty, and we follow her around, and she gets all the treats and plays with Ace's toys, and Ace just does not like it. And then this one will jump on Ace like she did the other dogs and bite the neck. And she's had a few times she's gotten really rough with her, and I've had to step in and be like, whoa, she's just a baby. Calm down. You did the same thing.
My week's been a little bit more productive. I've been working. I haven't had a staycation, but I have learned another week's worth of research on Meta-Chlorines.
Oh, you and these Meta-Chlorines.
For Star Wars. And I have officially exhausted my resources and the shop's owner, my manager, and my other coworker who knows more about Star Wars than I do. All of which gave me conflicting answers on Meta-Chlorines. To which I then had to go to the internet and fully immerse myself on midichlorian information through there. And one of them, the owner has said, well, we ignore it because it's bullshit. And I'm like, no, it's still a part of canon. As much as you don't like a part of some movie, it still counts. It's still there. That's when my manager finally said, I think you're a master troll in Star Wars right now, because this is all midichlorians of all things. And I said, yes, Chris, but as I said last week, it started off as a troll, and it's almost become my new obsession. Lightsabers are cool. Laser swords. I'm sorry. Laser swords are awesome.
Laser swords.
But midichlorians, there's a whole planet of these things hidden in the Force itself.
But let's start off by saying you are a troll in all things. It doesn't matter if you're interested in it now. By saying laser swords, you are trolling. Okay.
Well, I've got a troll along the way.
Okay. And second, you are in luck because I am Emperor Palpatelli. And as such, I know everything about the Meta-Chlorines.
Midichlorians.
Meta-Chlorines.
Oh, are we saying it wrong?
You're saying
You're saying Liam Neeson said it wrong?
Yeah.
Ra's al Ghul himself is wrong?
I am Emperor Palpatelli, and if I say they're Meta-Chlorines, they're Meta-Chlorines.
Now they're Meta-Chlorines.
Yes, that is what they are.
And that's also the name of this episode, Meta-Chlorines.
Meta-Chlorines.
You put them in your pool?
Yeah. That's one use for them. You can also put them in your blood and use the Force.
All right, Emperor Palpatelli.
Yes.
Could Batman inject himself with Meta-Chlorines?
Batman would not inject himself with Meta-Chlorines because there could be adverse side effects.
The question was, could he? Could he then wield the Force using these Meta-Chlorines?
Batman would concoct something very similar, but that would give him even greater powers and inject himself with that.
Okay, the other question is, are Meta-Chlorines a byproduct of the Force, or do you need Meta-Chlorines to access the Force?
You need them to access the Force.
See, that's that's the conclusion I came to as well.
Clearly, the Force doesn't just go, let me create these Meta-Chlorines. No, the Force is not a sentient being. It's just there.
You've decided this?
No, I know this. I did not decide. I am Palpatelli. I know. So it's like, some people are colorblind and some people can see color. It just depends on what's in your blood if you can access this extra thing. Or what's in your pool.
See, yes, Darth Vader Daniel, I'm your apprentice still, so I'm learning. Mm-hmm. I guess the answer was right in front of me the whole time.
Yeah, you should have just asked. I don't know why you're doing research. That shit takes time.
Because now
nobody got time for that.
This is more impactful for my learning, because I'm thinking, you've been here. You know all this.
I do.
Instead, I've been resorting to people who apparently have seen all the movies. Have you seen all the Star Wars movies?
No.
And you still have more information and
answers. Because I am Emperor Palpatelli. I live the Star Wars movies. That's my everyday life. Walking around with my laser sword. Lightsabers. Okay.
We're going to have a review for Rogue One next week. Early reviews are saying that it's depressing. A little too depressing. To which I asked, are we over the depressing, this movie's way too dark, why can't movies just be fun? Are we over that because it's Star Wars, or are we still on that mindset? Or is it because this is not DC Comics that this is okay for it to be dark and depressing?
That's what it is. It's because it's not DC, because it's Star Wars, and Star Wars can do no wrong.
And they're owned by Disney. And
it's like the second-born child in a family. Star Wars can do no wrong.
Tell that to the diehard Star Wars fans and ask them about the prequels. The Star Wars can do plenty wrong.
Listen, anyway, I have never had a problem with dark movies. So I don't see what their big deal is. Does it tell a good story? Cool. You know, this is probably still a very, very light movie, and they're just like, oh, I'm depressed now.
That's what reviewers are saying. I think fans are going to be like, no, it was fine.
Yeah.
It was okay.
Yep.
See, I don't like my superhero movies to be too dark, but this is okay. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. There's a difference.
Clearly.
And now, if this ends up with a lower Rotten Tomatoes rating than they wanted, now reviewers can go fuck off and they don't count.
Yep.
But if it has a good Rotten Tomatoes review that they want,
then it's
awesome.
Yep.
Great. Good job review.
Yep.
This has a 98%.
Oh, does it?
Like now it's great. And I don't care either way. Like, I want it to be a good movie, but I just think it's always funny when something strong in fandom comes about. Mm-hmm. Suddenly it's so weird, the flip-flops you see, and when you compare, I wish life could, and maybe we'll get there soon, but I wish I could record these moments when people say something that I'm like, okay, let me use this for later, and then show them again that exact clip.
You could pull up Troll Trace from South Park and just pull up all their internet history.
What a great season finale.
That was awesome.
South Park is fucking on point. I know the other episodes kind of stood on their own and they were on their own things, but these whole seasons where it's a giant arc, I love it. Even though it's only relevant to right now,
right?
I still think it's great. And yeah, you can go back and see this older South Park episodes, but knowing how the politics are working out with Trump winning, it's still fun to go back and see the season and seeing the creators as they write these shows like days ahead of airing to be like, okay, Trump won, so we got to change this. And I think it's awesome. So good on South Park.
Yeah.
All right, a lot of broquettes tune in for the news. So we're going to kick it off with some video gaming with a latest addition to the Nintendo Switch.
Eurogamer reported last week that the Nintendo Switch will be adding GameCube games to its library of virtual console games.
Back in 2012, Nintendo of America president Reggie Fils-Aimé hinted at GameCube games joining the Wii U's virtual console, but that never materialized.
But here it is now.
Better late than never. Were there any GameCube games that you especially enjoyed?
Ooh, Sonic Adventure Battle 2. I played Sonic DX is what it was called when it hit that one. I feel like there was something else that I used to play that I really enjoyed, but I can't remember what it was now.
Animal Crossing, did you ever get into that one?
No, I've never played an Animal Crossing game. I don't like their triangle noses.
A little too creepy for you?
Yeah, I'm judging hard. I like my Harvest Moon. I just think it's weird when animals are talking to me.
Rumors indicate that Super Mario Sunshine is already on the way,
okay.
So that's going to be one of the early virtual console games, as well as Super Smash Bros. Melee.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be a tricky one because players are going to demand the GameCube controllers on the Nintendo Switch.
Mm-hmm.
And so far, I haven't seen many ports on the Nintendo Switch itself. I think there's a USB port in there, so maybe they'll come up with some kind of peripheral again for the GameCube controllers, just like they did with the Wii U one.
Come up with a wireless one.
Or even a wireless one. But I personally want to see Star Wars Rogue Leader. And it's a coincidence that we're talking a lot about Star Wars, but Rogue Leader is one of my favorite GameCube games in the whole launch. And it came out on day one for the GameCube. I remember I'm still pretty big on Nintendo, but not as much as when I was a kid, because that's all you thought about. I talked episodes ago about Melee and how we looked at Nintendo Power and theorized what the moves would be. That's at that point right there. Work. That's at that peak of fandom for video games. So when the GameCube came out, we were there in line at Target day one, ready for the GameCube. It came out in black and it came out in purple. There were 3 black consoles left, and we got one of them. We were also like the third one in line, so they didn't send a lot of black consoles. They didn't have the orange one at launch like they had shown at E3. The games that we got on day one were Luigi's Mansion.
I played that a little bit.
Crazy Taxi.
Nope.
And Star Wars Rogue Leader. Out of those 3, fucking Rogue Leader took my time. It was phenomenal. I remember I played it as a demo because they had the demo set up before the console even launched. And I remember coming up to the GameCube controller, and that was the biggest thing that all of these attendees at E3 were talking about, is that the controller is the most comfortable in all of gaming ever. And I said, well, how comfortable must this be? It just meshes into your hand and it just fits perfectly. So I went into the store, played it, touched the controller for the first time, and I was like, 11-year-old me or whatever, these motherfuckers were not kidding. This is fucking sweet.
Oh, I liked my N64 controller. I think
I was actually 14 at the time.
Pitchfork.
But holy shit, it's still the most comfortable controller I have ever played with or touched and caressed. Spent hours in my bedroom.
I need to give you 2 moments.
But yeah, Rogue Leader, I don't think it's going to make it because of Factor 5 and whatever licensing they have. It's not strictly a Nintendo game, even though it was exclusive on the GameCube. But I really want to see that come out on the Virtual Console. Even the 3-pack where it was Star Wars Rogue Squadron 3, where it came with some of the older levels from Rogue Leader, and then they gave you like the character that you can play with, which wasn't the greatest, but those ship battles were phenomenal. Being a Star Fox fan, this was Star Fox on a whole deeper level, but with a Star Wars skin. And it worked out so well. You can play as all the different ships. Make that into the Virtual Console, and I will be a very happy man.
Well, you enjoy that. I will not be picking up any of these games. Maybe Sonic Adventure Battle 2.
The one you have been playing on your staycation, though, is Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yes.
Making a shit ton of progress, and you're about to prove me wrong in my prediction that I said that you would not finish Pokemon Moon.
Told you I was going to finish it. This is what happens when you tell a woman she's not going to do something. She does it.
Part of my secret plan?
No.
Did you fall into my hands?
I didn't. No. Because you just didn't think I was going to do it.
Even if you did, you'd still be like, nope, I did it because I wanted to, not because of what you said.
That's what I do as a woman. Come on. How have you not learned this in all these years? So for the holiday season, this is some great news. Fans around the world are looking to flood Pokemon Sun and Moon's Wonder Trade with more sought-after Pokemon.
Are you familiar with Wonder Trade? Do you know how it works?
You just send something out into the world and something random comes back?
Correct.
Like it's kid's Mewtwo from the game?
You're gambling, basically. Most of the time, you're going to end up with Pidgeys, Caterpies, very common Pokemon. But in an effort to make the holidays more special for players that are getting Pokemon Sun and Moon, they want those players to get something special from a complete stranger with Wonder Trade.
So these could include unique IV stats, shinies, and rare Pokemon.
They did it last year, too.
Did they?
Yeah, they did. And I know a lot of players are like, well, time for me to get something really good and just put up whatever. But a lot of players, especially in the Pokemon community, want to help new players. And that's something that I've seen in Pokemon League. Every time I have a new player join League, the parents are always real nervous. Like, they don't really know how to play yet, so they're not too sure, but they collect the cards. And I'm like, that's fine. That's how it starts. One, you're going to be playing in a year.
Yeah.
Mom and Dad, one of you is going to be playing. Both of you are going to be playing. Two, we have players here that are more than happy to show. And that's because they want to see Pokemon continue. They want to see new trainers join. They want people to feel what they felt 20 years ago when they first played Pokemon.
Can I get a Tapu Lele in this thing?
Probably.
Can I get a Tapu Koko?
Yeah, I think you can.
I think those are my favorite Pokemon right now.
Just because of the names?
Yes. And then there's Tapu Bulu and Tapu Fini. Those are the only new Pokemon names that I know.
Those are like the Meta-Chlorines for you for Pokemon. Did you just attach yourself to those weird sounding...
They're not...
You showed them to me, and I'm like, they look kind of weird.
Yeah, they are weird, but his name's Tapu Lele. That's so cool.
You're a Tapu Koko.
No, you're a Tapu Lele.
You're a Tapu Fini.
No, that one's ugly. I don't like that one. You can be the Tapu Sombrero guy.
Well, yeah. Who else would I be?
Overall, though, now you're farther in the game. What are your impressions as you continue?
I still liked Pokemon XY better, but this is still not a bad game. And Mimikyu is still the fucking shit. I do want to give a quick shout out to Josh from the Arcade Archives. He traded me over a Mimikyu. Initially, I hadn't caught any, and he said, hey, I caught you one. We'll trade at Pokemon League. I said, great, awesome. So I've got a guaranteed Mimikyu. When I got to the portion of the game where I can actually catch Mimikyu, and remember, to anyone not familiar with Pokemon, it's a 5% chance of running into this Pokemon in this particular area. So you have to go through random encounters. So, for example, Final Fantasy, you'd go through random battles or monsters. You have to go through those, and a 5% chance of running into Mimikyu is very slim. So thanks to Josh for taking the time to catch an extra one and then trading it over. I spent about an hour catching your Mimikyu, and then immediately after, in the next encounter, it was another Mimikyu. And it was pretty incredible. I remember I was on break at work, 30-minute break. 20 minutes in, I ran into the first one, and I said, all right, cool, let me get out of here. And as I'm running through the area, I get another wild encounter, and it's another fucking Mimikyu. It was perfect. Caught that one, too. Anyone that has asked me for a Mimikyu has one at this point. My sister has one. You have one. My coworker James has one. And I have one now. And that's, again, huge thanks to Josh at the Arcade Archives. But yeah, aside from that, it's a really good game. I'm pretty much up to the Elite Four, and I will give a recap once it's all completely finished.
I'm still playing. I think I'm on the third island. I don't know. I'm riding the stupid horse. I don't like the horse.
You're not you're probably 2 hours of game time away from me.
Yeah, that's it. I feel like you play it more than I do. I still say there's too many cutscenes. There's too many fucking cutscenes.
Well, get ready for more.
Listen, I'm done with these cutscenes, and you can't skip them. I'd rather skip them. And the Professor Kukui's still talking like I don't know that he's the royal masked man, whatever.
That's a joke, though.
He walks around without a shirt both ways, okay? I can tell. God.
To anyone not looking to spend money this holiday season, you're probably playing Pokemon Go.
Which finally got another update. In Pokemon Go's latest update, it introduces Generation 2's Pokemon through egg hatching with Magby, Elekid, Smoochum, Pichu, Togepi, Igglybuff, and Cleffa.
In addition to this, players can catch, because there's not enough versions of this fucking Pokemon.
Listen. We don't need that kind of negativity in this house.
You can catch a holiday Pikachu until December 29th.
All right, so you're sitting here complaining about the many versions of this Pokemon.
I'm not complaining.
Listen, you said, and I quote, because there's not enough versions of this fucking Pokemon. However, as we sat in the drive-thru line today, I heard, oh, holiday Pikachu's over there. We have to drive across the street. And we did.
I was doing it for you.
No, you were
Because if I hadn't
excited.
told you as soon as possible, you would have been upset.
I would have been upset, but you wanted to catch it too. And you were very excited, and I'm pretty sure you took a screenshot so you can put it on Twitter later.
Oh, yeah, fine.
Okay, then. So stop complaining. Pikachu's the shit. We all love Pikachu.
It's their moneymaker.
Yeah.
Reskin them and I mean, we've seen it with the Gengar Pikachu, Rayquaza Pikachu, Magikarp Pikachu.
Yep, got it. Got the plush.
And they're putting them up on the Pokemon Center. People are buying them.
Yeah.
Good for Pokemon.
I'd buy him. Pikachu's the best.
I just want to see another variation on Bulbasaur.
Nope, not gonna happen.
It's not going to happen.
Not gonna happen. It's all about Pikachu.
Fucking Charizard gets an X and Y form.
Nope, don't care.
Venusaur just gets a regular one.
But I mean, he got that extra flower on his ass.
It's called the Tramp Stamp. Thank you. And I've grown to accept Mega Venusaur's Tramp Stamp.
But cool thing about Holiday Pikachu, if you evolve him into Raichu, he still keeps his Santa hat.
Becomes Holiday Raichu.
Yes, that's amazing. I'm never going to transfer mine. You almost transferred yours too.
I was joking with you because I'm like, oh, this one doesn't have great stats. I'm just going to transfer it.
You know what? I don't care about stats. I don't even look at them because I'm not even assigned to a team.
And that wraps it up for our Pokemon news this week. On to comics.
Marvel's secret R.L. Stine project has finally been revealed. This was so secret, I didn't even know about it till right now.
So in March, Goosebumps writer R.L. Stine will be writing an all-new Man-Thing series with German Peralta, who's done Moon Knight, the artwork on that, as the artist on this book.
We have a quote here from Marvel editor-in-chief Axel Alonso, who says, quote, R.L. Stine in the Marvel Universe, that's an event in and of itself. And is there a Marvel character more perfectly suited to his sensibilities than the monstrous Man-Thing? Stine and artist German Peralta are spinning a tale full of action, horror, humor, and heart. One that is sure to please R.L. Stine fans, Man-Things fans, and new fans. Are they calling Captain Planet too? Well, because it was full of action, horror, humor, and heart.
Go Planet! With R.L. Stine combined, we make Man-Thing Planet. Man-Thing Planet, he's the hero. Look, I'm not a songwriter.
That's my job.
That'd be Mr. Riggs or you.
Yeah, okay. Why'd you jump to Riggs first? I rate the best songs.
Because he created the song that I still remember from high school, that he doesn't remember. But I always made him sing because it never had an ending. It ended, quote, I'm not saying fall in love, make her a 2-weeker. And I was always like, and then what? Well, that's it. Oh. And it just had this sudden ending.
Okay, but I write songs about your dog daily. And they're great songs about you becoming Pride Rock.
I've accepted. I'm fucking Pride Rock.
You are. Because she likes to stand on you every morning.
Dog just stands on, doesn't lay on me gently, just when it's awake, it went out, went potty, comes up and stands on my body.
Yeah.
And looks down at me.
Yeah.
And someone singing the circle, you probably, to encourage this behavior.
I do. I'm like, when she's like sleeping by my legs so I can't move them and I am uncomfortable, I pick her up, I'm like, go stand on your dad. He's Pride Rock.
So what do you think? R.L. Stine. I think that's huge fucking news.
That's awesome. I don't know who Man-Thing is. Is he like Swamp Thing?
Yes, except he was created months before Swamp Thing.
Oh, so some mole found out about Swamp Thing and was like, listen, Marvel, I gotta look these up.
I like how that's the conclusion you reached, back before we even existed.
Man-Thing. That's Swamp Thing. What are they talking about? Shit, Swamp Thing.
Man-Thing has a movie. I don't know if you knew this.
Why has he got a big old penis on his face? Look at that.
That's his nose.
That's a giant penis.
It's for the sex appeal, Kelly. Sex sells.
No, why has he got dreadlocks in this one?
He's cultured.
Listen, Swamp Thing is super handsome. This guy is not.
You think Swamp Thing is handsome?
Yeah. Okay, so you saw this man thing, right?
Yes.
Not cool. Swamp Thing. Look at that. Look at that chest, man. He's standing there so majestic.
He has root green pecs.
Yeah. It's awesome. Look, here he is with some flowers, come to take you out on a date.
So he's got a sensitive side?
Yeah. That's handsome, man. This man thing? No way. They made him look too inhuman. At least Swamp Thing tries.
I am subbing onto this title so quick. As soon as it's in previews, as soon as it's in the computer at my comic shop, I am in on R.L. Stein's whatever he was fucking writing. I don't care what he was going to write. R.L. Stein writing a comic book? Give me that. And you better write it like a Goosebumps book. That better be like a little child who just moved into a new town. And
doesn't have any friends.
He's a little weird and his family's goofy and wacky. And he's just like, oh, I need more in my life. And I'm the new kid. Every single one of those stories was some new kid moving in. It
sounds like some fan fiction.
And his neighbor's going to be a ghost that you didn't know about at the end, but he's going to find this possessed doll that he's going to use and try to impress his friends with, but then the doll starts moving around and blaming things on him. And then, meanwhile, in his basement, there is, it's Slappy.
Oh.
Meanwhile, in the basement, there's this plant growing up that's taking over humans, and it's actually from outer space.
Is that Man Thing?
And that's Man Thing.
Oh. I want R.L. Stein to be listening to this, like writing this comic book. And he's like, fuck, man, they just discovered. Like,
scrap it all. I'm done, Marvel.
Hire this guy. You read all the Goosebumps books, though, didn't you?
I read a lot of them, and I even read several of the Fear Street stuff.
I was never allowed to read those. They were too spooky for me. Wizard of Oz was too spooky for me growing up.
That gives you an idea, Brokettes.
Yes.
Of what I had to work with when I started showing Kelly movies.
You've never seen Wizard of Oz either.
No, I haven't, but that's almost on principle now, because I'm like, I've gone this long without seeing Wizard of Oz. I should keep that going.
It's not that great of a movie.
Well, now I know even more.
Well, I've never read any of his work. I did see that movie with Jack Black in it.
Yeah, on Netflix.
Yeah.
Came out last year.
Uh-huh. That was pretty good.
It's good stuff.
I enjoyed it. So I will read this, and I might enjoy it, or I might be too scared. I don't know. My scary tolerance is real low. Continuing
on comic books, we've got stats for the month of November, and there has been a shift in power between the big two.
So after months of giving the spotlight to DC, yes, they just gave the spotlight to them. You guys can have it. After months, Marvel has taken the retail unit market share for sales in November 2016.
And it's by a pretty large margin. Mm-hmm. So the top three retail market share percentages, Marvel at 38%, DC Comics at 26%, and Image Comics far off at 9%.
Poor Image Comics.
They're still doing really well. They're fine.
Mm-hmm.
9% is very good for what they're doing.
Sad to see DC drop. We have had a great run. I think we'll be back up there, though.
So our list for November on top 10 comic books sold through Diamond Distributors. At number 10 is Inhumans vs. X-Men number 0.
Number 9 is The Walking Dead number 160.
At number 8 is Venom number 1.
Number 7, Batman Annual number 1.
At number 6, Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows number 1,
that was
which
a great
we do
one.
recommend.
Yes. Number 5, Invincible Iron Man number 1.
At number 4 is All-Star Batman number 4.
Number 3, Civil War 2 number 7.
Interestingly enough, at number 2 is Batman number 11.
And number 1 is Batman number 10.
So that's something that was noted on Newsarama especially, is even though they lost market share, their top book is still a DC comic. The top 10 graphic novels for November. This is more on your end because of Saga and Image Comics. You like a lot of books from
Saga.
Image. At number 10 is the trade paperback for Deadpool vs. Gambit.
Don't care. Number 9 is Moon Knight Volume 1.
And number 8 is Vision Volume 2, which I now want to read because I've heard 3 times almost customers tell me, I'm not interested in Vision, but I read one of the issues from this run and I had to buy Volume 1. I said, holy shit, well, fuck, maybe I'll give that a shot.
Number 7 is DC Universe Rebirth Deluxe Edition.
I missed out on that one, but it's a reprinting, a hardcover, and then they have extra content for that huge issue that introduced the Watchmen into the DC universe. And number 6 is Sandman Overture.
Number 5 is Unbelievable Gwenpool, Volume 1.
And number 4 is Star Wars Darth Vader Volume 4, which I'm slowly working towards.
When are they coming out with Darth Vidaniel?
Right after they come out with Emperor Kelli Volume 1.
Oh man, that'd be the best book ever. It'd just be about my life, my staycations. It's perfect. Number 3 is DC Superhero Girls Volume 2.
That is pretty high up for the DC Superhero Girls. It seems like maybe it will become a billion-dollar fucking property for them. And number 2 is Marvel the Hip Hop Covers Volume 1.
And the number 1 trade paperback is Paper Girls Volume 2.
I can tell you that it is going to change in December because I am suddenly selling a ton of Monstrous Volume 1. Part of that is because 2 of the employees that work at the shop adore that comic, and it's also a $10 graphic novel.
Listen, if I worked there, I would sell the shit out of Saga all the time to everybody.
Saga does not need help.
But I would help it, though. Shit, man. Oh, you're reading this random fuck comic here. Buy a Saga, too. Oh, well, I don't need... You're gonna buy this Saga. And then they'd be back for more.
How do you describe Saga to someone that has never read Saga? I'm curious to see if we describe it in the same way. You're trying to sell Saga.
Yeah.
To someone that's never read it. Go.
Saga is a amazingly told story with but tons of meaningful character development where you fall in love with the characters from the first time you see them, and then that's continued throughout the story. And it all takes place in space, and it's a war between multiple different races.
Definitely a lot deeper than what I go with, because mine's more of a sales pitch, and mine's quick. It's constantly in the top 100 for trades. It's already up to volume 6. We have 4 copies of each because it sells that quickly. It's got sex, violence, gore, romance, everything that you could ask for, and it's really got a little bit of something for everyone. And that's why various different audiences are picking it up. That's
too much statistics for me. I don't care that it's in the top 100. If it's good, I'm going to read it. My sales pitch is, you don't have this in your life, you need it.
It's not what I heard.
Well, okay, but that was just me describing it. You didn't say I had to make a sales pitch.
We're going to talk a lot about movies today on this episode. And something I want to start doing is I want to highlight some of the brilliant responses that Brokettes are giving to some of the hashtag games that we put up on Facebook and on Twitter.
Did you tell anybody about my amazing hashtag game yesterday?
Lead into that.
Okay, so for those of you who don't know, hashtag games are where you put a hashtag of something and then you have to respond with something. That was a terrible example.
Awful.
But so the ones we did yesterday was, what was it? Hashtag hip hop food? Was that it?
Basically. Like hip hop, food hip hop names.
Food hip hop names. So you had to take hip hop artist names and turn it into a type of food. One of the ones that somebody else put up that I thought was great was the fresh shrimp of Bel Air.
LL Cool Whip.
LL Cool Whip. I had some great ones, though. I was on fire last night.
Within 5 minutes. All those tweets you saw were mostly from Kelli.
They were all me. My favorite one was Whiz Cauliflower. What else did I do? I can't even remember them.
I had the Feasty Boys.
Yes, that one was a great one. Mac and Cheese Miller. Don't even know who Mac Miller is.
The Furious Five Guys Burgers and Fries.
Yes, that was you.
Daryl McDonald's.
Oh, that was me.
ASAP Pocky. But the S is a dollar sign. J. Cola.
That was me.
Marshmallow Puff Daddy.
Oh, yes. Why am I so funny?
Soup Dog.
Yep, that was me. That was my first one.
And 2 packs of Ramen Shakur.
I think that one was a joint. Joint effort there. So that is what a hashtag game is. I typically suck at these. I'm trying to get better. But you posted one this week.
Hashtag brand a 90s film.
And we got some great comments.
Oh, hold on. Mine first.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay,
I have to lead with one.
Yes, please.
Just to get it started.
Please.
Mine was Toyota Story.
Good. Proud of you. So here we have some from Eric on Facebook, who came up with Independence Day Quill.
That's my favorite one.
That's my favorite one. Brink's Home Alone. Dark Circuit City. And he had a bonus non-movie brand, which was Calvin Klein and Hobbes. That's awesome.
The other response we had was from Matt on Facebook, who runs the Super Side Up podcast. They always support us, so of course we want to support them. And I'm going to save my favorite one for last. So Sam Goody Will Hunting. And then 7-11, but 7 like the movie 7 from the 90s with the number as the V. 11. I just fucking died at that one.
So, we're going to post another one up this week, yes?
I think so. I have to look at what I have planned. But whenever I post any of those hashtag games, if you do respond on Facebook or on Twitter, chances are we will start sharing them here on the podcast. Move over at midnight.
It's all about the reasons I'm broke now.
That's right.
I will continue to try and think some up. I don't work well under pressure. If it has something to do with food, I can probably, come up with something.
So we've got a handful of Warner Brothers and DC Comics plans for what we're going to be seeing on the big screen from now until 2020.
First, we'll start out with some pretty bad news. Warner Brothers' Justice League sequel in 2019 has been pushed back to make room for Ben Affleck's solo Batman film.
Is this really bad news, though?
No, it was bad because it got pushed back, but then it became good news.
Okay, we could either give you Batman and his super sidekicks in 2019, or we can just give you Batman. Do you want watered down Batman, or do you want pure Batman?
Can I just have both at the same time?
They've got to spread them out to make some money.
They'll make my money either way. And my
True,
money
they will
is
make
the most
your money.
My money is the most important money.
The Palpa dollars? Is
Yes.
that what you're giving
I
them?
pay with Palpa dollars.
Is this like M. Bison in the Street Fighter movie? Just useless money?
Is that what he uses?
At the end of it, it's his whole thing was he's going to take over the world.
Okay.
And these Bison dollars are going to be the new currency. But when they take him out, the guy that ran off with what he thought were millions of dollars were millions of dollars in Bison dollars. So it was useless.
He could have done bicentennial quarters. I mean, nickels.
Bicentennial? Is that what
You don't know about the bicentennial?
Okay, I thought you were making a pun joke there.
I mean, I was. We have bicentennial nickels with the bison on it. You've never seen those?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
I know what you're talking
so
about.
he could have just done a shit ton of those.
So the Batman, as we're, I guess, titling it, is it officially the Batman?
Mm-hmm.
Hasn't been confirmed yet, but the Batman will now take Justice League's release date of June 14th, 2019. A little over 2 years from now.
Okay, I'll take it.
Now here's the interesting bit.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this, Zack Snyder will be taking a break from the DC films. Justice League and its sequel were originally planned to be filmed back-to-back.
Huh. The changes are being attributed to Jeff Johns and John Berg overseeing the DC films overall.
One of the things I had read Jeff Johns talk about as far as the planning for Batman and Justice League is that they initially wanted to break up Justice League 1 into 2 films, and that's what we would have gotten Part 1 and Part 2. So early rumors of that being the title were actually true, but Jeff Johns and I believe Henry Cavill leaked that they decided to, instead of dragging out the plot, put it all into one film. And instead of making fans wait for what they were planning, which I'm assuming is Darkseid, or maybe it's just going to be Steppenwolf, but it could be that they snuck in at the very end, just like we got Doomsday in Batman v Superman after Batman and Superman fought, that they're going to put in that Doomsday fight into Justice League 1. But it looks like that's how they're going to be advancing Justice League Part 1.
I have determined that I will enjoy these movies no matter the direction that they go. They've proven with Suicide Squad, with Batman v Superman, hopefully with Wonder Woman, at least from what we've seen so far, that they have a true investment in these characters, and they're going to give us the best film that they can. So if they need to delay something, yeah, fine, go ahead. Like I said, they're going to make my money either way.
As a reminder, the first movie under the watch of Jeff Johns will be Wonder Woman next year.
Keeping on with the DC film news, and kind of taking a sidetrack at the same time, there's a moment in every man's life when he realizes that his wife is always correct. Have you reached that moment, Daniel?
A few times.
That was a great answer. Well, this time is no different. So Patrick Wilson, who played Night Owl from Watchmen, has been cast as Aquaman's half-brother, Orm, a.k.a. Ocean Master.
Ocean
Master.
Broquettes, we have done it. We have added all of us collectively, because of your actions, because of our love of Ocean Master,
Yes.
Jeff Johns saw all of this and said, saw dollar signs, one, because that's the Broquette dollar
saw
guaranteed.
Palpa dollars.
And said,
saw Palpa pesos.
saw the potential that could be Ocean Master.
The palpotential.
The palpotential of Ocean Master, and is now demanding that he be put in Aquaman's film, and my film.
Your film, yes. I'm sure you had some influence on that too.
Not as much as the Broquette. So I want to thank all of the listeners.
Thank you.
We want to thank the listeners
for signing that petition that we never even knew about.
Correct. On adding Ocean Master to Aquaman, you're now going to see, bigger than seeing Batman versus Superman on the big screen, we are going to see motherfucking Ocean Master in theaters.
Amazing. What could be better? Nothing better.
Now we have to, the journey is not over, listeners, Broquettes. We must demand that they give us pure Ocean Master. We don't want a censored version.
No.
On Aquaman, on the big screen. We want to see the Ocean Master that comes on villains' faces, comes on heroes, comes on other characters as he hides in the ocean floor. I mean, you describe him better. You created the Ocean Master.
I did create. I mean, and it was a long process. So really had to dive in and understand what the character was. But yes, he lays under the sand, waiting for some unsuspecting person to walk by, swim by, and then he jumps out with a aha, and then in their face.
Don't worry about what happens after that. That's pretty fucking amazing.
Yeah, it's a
like
defense
an underwater
mechanism.
Troll.
Yeah, defense mechanism like an octopus, but it's come.
And it works even better because trolls hide under a bridge. This one hides under the sand.
Under the sand. With his suit with anchors and barnacles. Doubloons, sand dollars, some sparkly ocean net, some scales.
What do you think of the casting of Patrick Wilson as live action Ocean Master?
Is he going to be wimpy again and hit a button that shoots off a fire stream so we know what's happening?
In the censored version, yes.
Is that going to happen again? I thought he did okay as Owlman. I didn't...
Night Owl?
Night Owl. Oh, the same difference.
Maybe this is the DC Cinematic version, Earth Snyder Night Owl.
Earth Snyder Night Owl. Maybe. I don't know. He did a good job acting as him. The character in and of himself wasn't very dynamic, I felt, in The Watchmen. So I haven't ever seen him in anything else. I'm going to hope and believe that they casted him well for it. But I mean, I have such high expectations for him.
As the creator of this
Ocean Master,
modern Ocean Master, who would have been your dream casting?
Oh, see, that was hard. I'd have to think on this because, like, my favorite actors, Liam Neeson, he can't play that.
Why can't he play?
It's too degrading. For him to jump up, can you just imagine Liam Neeson like, aha!
I have found you, and you will take my sperm.
I've come on your face.
I told you I would find you.
I will look for you. I will find you, and I will come on you.
Good luck.
Can't be Liam Neeson. I like Hugh Jackman. Can't be him either. Nope. Maybe, you know who it could be? It could be bow and arrow guy from the Marvel movies.
Jeremy Renner?
Yeah, he can play him.
It's a weird casting.
He could play him. Kind of wimpy and like awkward a little bit.
So your Ocean Master isn't really a threat.
No, he's just a silly guy who hides in the sand and surprises people with ejaculation.
So, Broquettes, we can all see Ocean Master go up against, I guess, Aquaman. We know Black Manta's going to be in there. Against the world. We had told everyone, like, Black Manta, weren't they using fucking Ocean Master? And now they're giving us the opportunity, and they said, oh, we're sorry, Broquettes.
You're right.
You're correct. We're going to go with Ocean Master.
You're right.
And you can see Ocean Master on October 5th, 2018.
So Ocean Master was great news for me. It was pretty amazing. But something that's even better news, Broquettes. Even better. You just found out about this hours ago.
Yep.
The Hollywood Reporter has uncovered the title of the Harley Quinn spin-off movie. Gotham City Sirens.
Fuck yes.
Dun, 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 dun.
We had wished on this as soon as they said there's going to be a Harley Quinn spinoff movie and Batgirl's going to be in it and we're going to have Harley Quinn and other characters. They had said at that point, I think Poison Ivy, and we said they should just do the Gotham City Sirens.
Yep.
Along with several others, because that's the natural direction they should go in. And they finally come out and said the title's going to be Gotham City Sirens. And on top of that, Suicide Squad director David Ayer will return for this project as co-produced by Harley Quinn actor Margot Robbie.
Much like Paul Dini and Guillaume March's comic of the same name, Poison Ivy and Catwoman will appear in the film.
Okay, so 2 things. 1, the plot that we're going to go with, and 2, the title. Do you adapt what Paul Dini put forth in the book and then put the story of the Riddler and put the Joker? Or are you going to make this the Batman Adventure spinoff, which was the internet cartoon of Gotham City Girls, where Batgirl is trying to arrest Poison Ivy, Harley Quinn, and Catwoman? And one more option here. The third one is this going to be even bigger where we see the Birds of Prey, so Batgirl's crew, against the Gotham City Sirens?
So what I would do...
And this is also what you want to see?
Yeah, I think so. What I would do and what I would want to see, and the direction I think that they will probably go with this particular movie, is you probably have to have a fairly large portion of it talking about how they came together to form this team.
True.
So they're going to have to focus on that. So I don't think that we'll see all of Batgirl's crew in it. I think we're going to see a lot of time spent on these 3 girls coming together. We're going to have some of Batgirl in there trying to stop them. I think, though, that this would be a great way to set up for a second movie. And I think that's probably the direction they're going to go because they know this is going to make money. It has Harley Quinn's name attached to it. And then you're throwing in Catwoman in there also.
Do you put Batman as a cameo in this, or do you give Batgirl the full spotlight?
If I did give him a camo, it'd be a very small one. It'd be Batgirl talking to him momentarily about, blah, 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 blah. And
maybe
then,
the radio.
Yeah, something. Maybe she's in the Batcave and she sees him and says something to him. I'm not sure. But we do know that it's probably going to have to be a younger Harley Quinn. It's going to have to be several years earlier.
Before Suicide Squad?
Does Suicide Squad take place before BVS?
Or are you talking about Batgirl? You said a younger Harley Quinn.
Yeah, because it's going to have to take place before Suicide Squad.
Why?
Because Batman only works by himself. He shut down everything, remember? Because Suicide Squad takes place after BVS because Superman's dead.
What's that have to do with Harley Quinn going up and meeting with Poison Ivy and Catwoman, and then Batgirl going in to try to stop them? I think they can be completely separate.
Do you think Batgirl's still functioning with, like, in the Suicide Squad world?
Batgirl?
Yeah.
Batgirl, I think, is sent on assignment from Batman to stop Harley Quinn in the Gotham City Sirens.
But we know that Batman stopped being Batman.
He didn't stop. When did he stop being Batman? You mean...
Because he came back when Superman showed up.
Okay, I see what you're saying now. Well, maybe Batgirl got reactivated or reconnected with Batman.
Yeah.
And continues working. I mean, I don't think this needs to be a prequel to Suicide Squad.
Well, I don't think they'd spin it as a prequel to Suicide Squad, but I still think it's going to be... We're going to see her have a greater love for the Joker than she does in Suicide Squad. I don't know.
Will Joker be... Joker's going to be in this.
Of course he's going to be in this.
So I think Batman's going to be in it too.
Do you think Jared Leto would let himself not be in this at this point?
With all the scenes they cut?
Yeah.
Maybe he wouldn't want it. He's on contract. He's locked down.
Of course he is. He'll be in there.
So the second thing, Gotham City Sirens. I love it as a comic book fan. We have all the Gotham City Sirens issues. Love Paul Dini, and we do recommend you pick it up on trade because it's 2 volumes, which has all of the issues in both of those very thick volumes. But from a marketing standpoint, I would call this Harley Quinn Gotham City Sirens. I don't think Gotham City Sirens by itself have the marketing push to get general audiences in the theaters. However, Suicide Squad was no issue, and that has the title Suicide. So I'm probably wrong on that end, but
I don't think that they made a poor choice doing that because all the posters are going to have Harley right dead in the center. She's going to be all over the commercials. She's going to be all over the marketing. So I don't know. Like you said, Suicide Squad was fine by itself. I don't think we're going to have an issue with this title.
So you think it'll just be Gotham City Sirens, not Harley Quinn, Gotham City Sirens, or Gotham City Sirens, a Suicide Squad film?
No, because as a filmmaker, as a storyteller, I don't want to limit myself by saying Harley Quinn, Gotham City Sirens. Then you're saying this movie is essentially about Harley Quinn and her friends. The point of the Gotham City Sirens is they're a very close-knit group and there's not one leader. They all work together. By putting Harley Quinn in the beginning of the title, you're going to kind of pull that away and people are going to go, okay, Harley Quinn's in charge of it.
With this news, there are few things that you and I could ask for. I mean, at this point.
Yeah.
We've seen Batman fight Superman on the big screen. There was a clear winner. They didn't cheese us out of like, oh, they tied, so both fans win.
Mm-hmm.
There was a winner, and we got Harley Quinn. We got a great rendition of her. We got the classic suit of Harley Quinn in Suicide Squad. A nod there with the Alex Ross recreation. And now we're getting what we had asked for months ago. Make this a Gotham City Sirens film. Here you fucking go.
And Ocean Master.
And we fucking got Ocean Master. Like, what more could we want? What more could we... This is all bonus moving forward. Like, everything here is just, oh, we're very grateful. Thank you so much. Like, everything else
Maybe they could bring back Constantine. I mean, if I had to ask for something.
that can be to the television side, because...
I mean, they could make him into a movie, too. Okay?
You do want that Constantine in the films,
it
right?
has to be that one, though. They can't cast anybody else. Don't want it. That Constantine.
So apparently there is still something we can ask for. But it's just one thing. Just one thing.
I mean, I'm sure I could think of more.
Even though they gave us Ocean Man, even though they gave us Gotham City.
They have given me so many things, and I'm so grateful. And what a time to be alive and be a DC fan. This is great. I'm glad they listen to our podcast and take our advice.
And huge thanks to listeners.
Yes, and huge thanks to listeners for signing that petition I didn't know about. But if I had to ask for something, it would be Constantine on the big screen with TV Constantine.
So additionally, Will Smith will reprise his role as Deadshot in a solo film and in Suicide Squad 2.
So no release dates have been given for any of these projects.
So just to beat that comment that I know is going to show up, and I already tweeted it, wasn't Deadshot the solo film just Suicide Squad 1?
No, because there were too many people.
I'll say fucking yes and give me Deadshot 2. I don't give a fuck. If that was the Deadshot solo movie, I want another one.
Right.
Because we love Suicide Squad.
I think the Deadshot solo film would be more of how he became Deadshot.
It could be. Again, I don't think they should go backwards in any of these. Not in Gotham City Sirens or in Deadshot. They left us in such a sweet moment with him and his daughter. Mm-hmm. Give him more work to give him more time with his daughter. That's the heart of, I mean, aside from Diablo, that was the heart of Suicide Squad. So let's give some love to Disney and Marvel, because they don't get enough of it, at least from the podcast.
At least from our show.
The official trailer to Spider-Man Homecoming was released.
Mm-hmm.
Peter, what is going on with you?
I'm really sorry. I'm so busy. I'm slammed.
Don't mess with me, because I will kill you and everybody you love.
So pretty big things happen in this trailer, and we talked about it last week. We get to see Spidey wings.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
Yep. We get to see Spider-Man's Biffle.
Yes. Who is, initially we thought it was Genki from Miles Morales' Spider-Man. We were pretty excited, but we also said, what's Genki without Miles Morales? Like, this is, I joked that, okay, we've got Genki, we've got Spider-Man, but that doesn't look like Miles Morales. They've whitewashed Spider-Man. Like, I was just goofing off about that. But apparently it's not Genki.
Mm-hmm. And we weren't the only ones who thought so. Fans initially confused Ned Leeds, is who the character is, for Genki as Spider-Man's best friend.
So to anyone not familiar, in the comics, Ned Leeds was brainwashed into becoming a hobgoblin and committing crimes. I doubt we'll see that with this version.
I doubt it as well. But it's nice to see him have a friend who, you can see from the trailer, discovers his secret identity. And I think we're going to see a lot of the conflict between him wanting to be a hero and save people and him still being a kid and having to go to school and actually essentially live two completely different lives. And he does have to live two lives.
As we mentioned last week, you'll probably agree with me, we're bigger Miles Morales fans than we are Peter Parker fans. And a lot of that is just the development that Brian Michael Bendis has given to the character during a time in which Dan Slott was doing very divisive things in the comic books. We love Superior Spider-Man, which was Doc Ock taking over as Spider-Man, and I think it gave him more of an edge, and that's when we really dove into that and enjoyed it up until Peter Parker came back. Then we're like, oh, all right.
Nah, Peter's back.
Back to Miles. But in this case, yes, we still want to see Miles Morales on the big screen, and as much as we aren't Peter Parker fans as we are with Miles, and as I mentioned last week, the Spider-Wings are fucking cool, this trailer was still... It hit all the marks that any Spider-Man fan would want. For me, I'm going to see it for the possible, maybe, hopefully we'll get Miles as a cameo in it. Very doubtful.
I haven't called it, so it's not happening.
But 2, for Michael Keaton's performance as a villain, as the Vulture. That is where I went, let's get a fucking really good Marvel villain in these Marvel Cinematic films.
I think the Vulture costume looks great, too. His design is awesome. I haven't seen the Vulture much in comics, but every time I see him, I'm like, who's this crazy old man?
Yeah, that's basically it.
This guy looks badass. Like, he's going to fuck some shit up, and I'm scared of him.
It's still Birdman.
Yeah, well, Birdman was good, too.
I can't wait. Michael Keaton as the Vulture, fucking cool. And I'm sure that design is something left over from the Andrew Garfield films when they were going to do the Sinister Six. The
Secret Six? They were going to be in there, too?
I think I was thinking of on top of the regular Secret Six, but the Ultimates. Oh no, that was the Ultimate Six. How did I get that fucking? Ultimates was like the N64 of titles for comic books.
All right.
Ultimate Spider-Man, Ultimate X-Men, Ultimate Six.
I loved me some N64. Okay, at least it wasn't named Pokemon Snap 64.
But even though these are the Marvel Disney movies, there are still those out there who will be upset.
Really?
At trailers that may not have been for them. So we've got this week's Nerd Rage Reaction!
Moo. There's some cows in there.
Is this Twister?
Yeah. Did I ever tell you what I used to do after I saw Twister for the first time?
What?
This is a fun story about my childhood. I saw Twister when I was really little, and that was one of my favorite movies. I don't know why. That and Dante's Peak. Did you ever see Dante's Peak?
No.
That was one of my favorite movies, too. Oh, man. That's about this guy, and he figures out, somebody figures out a volcano's about to explode. Everybody's like, you're crazy. It's been dormant for years. And then it explodes. And then they're way up on the mountain, and they gotta get Grandma, and they gotta get off the mountain, right? And then Grandma, my favorite part, it shouldn't be my favorite part, to save them, she jumps in the boiling water to push their canoe the rest of the way across. Yeah, and like the bottom's melting out of the boat, but she's gonna save her grandkids, damn it. And then Grandma ends up dying.
That's fucking dark.
Yeah.
And this was one of your favorite movies as a child?
I mean, I did. I really enjoyed it.
And I thought that was weird for having one of my favorite childhood movies be Ghost.
No,
Patrick Swayze's
you like
Ghost.
The Exorcist, too.
Not as a child. That was as a teenager. I saw that when I was 12 or 13.
Yeah, that's still really young. I say as a child, I was probably 12 or 13 when I liked this movie. Anyway, so Twister, right? So after I'd seen Twister for the first time, we had just bought a refrigerator, so my parents let me keep this big-ass box. So I'd go in the box, and we had one of those little freestanding fans, and I'd turn it up all the way and, like, shake the walls in the box. And I'm like, oh, no, Twister! That's all I would do.
So, Nerd Rage Reaction, to anyone confused, new listeners, every episode is someone's first. It is a comment on YouTube, Newsarama, Facebook, that we pick out and copy and paste it, that we find to be funny or irrational or not sensible.
We're not going to tell you guys who said this quote. You're welcome to go out on the internet and search for them if you'd like to, but this is something we found funny and thought we would share.
So the quote here from this Nerd Rager reads, "They made Tony Stark the originator of a lot of his gear, unlike the comics, and exactly like the hated Ultimate Spider-Man. They changed all of Peter Parker's supporting characters' races, pissing on Stan Lee and Steve Ditko." End quote.
Have they seen the movie before we did?
I think they did, because then they know that they pissed on Stan Lee and Steve Ditko.
Are we going to see that? Are we going to see that in the movie?
It's a metaphor.
Like them,
He's on a higher level.
Gotcha. He's on a higher... But, I mean, since he's seen the movie and knows everything that happened in it clearly...
He said the hated... This is where I'm confused. He said the hated Ultimate Spider-Man, but that was the best-selling of the Ultimate Universe. So I'm not sure where they go. What that mean? What does that mean?
But he's on the higher plane than us, remember? So he must know more than we do. Like, he must know, for us, non-ascended beings, we thought it was really good.
Because of sales. Because sales are what dictate if people ultimately like this shit.
But he's on that higher plane, so he probably could see what all those people who bought it really felt about it.
They hated it, but they kept buying it.
Right, hoping
that it would get better. After
but
100 plus issues, they kept buying it.
Right. And he knows this. And again, he's seen the whole movie because that's how he knows that all these things happen the way that he said they do.
Change the races. You did not give a shit about Ned Leeds, guy. You did not give a shit about Ned Leeds.
No, of course not. Who? I didn't even know who Ned Leeds was. Still don't know.
We're not gonna fucking see, and if we did, who gives a shit too? Because it's the Hobgoblin, but we're not gonna see a minority Hobgoblin. And again, who gives a shit? It's the fucking Hobgoblin. It's Ned Leeds. And we thought it was Genki. So we should have been more disappointed than you are.
I'm pretty disappointed.
One of my coworkers is like, well, it's basically Genki. I'm like, no, it's still not Genki.
Nope.
It's played by...
This gives us the chance for a Miles Morales movie with Genki someday.
With true Genki.
True, the real Genki.
Spider-Man Homecoming is set to release next year on July 7th. Any other thoughts on the trailer with Tony Stark being in it?
I mean,
Marissa Tomei.
He was cool. It looks like they're going to have a lot of humor in them, like you would expect from a Spider-Man movie. Is it on my list to see? Yes. Is it as high as it would be if it was a Miles Morales Spider-Man? No.
Hell no.
No, but I still think they're going to do a good job. It's going to be better than Tobey Maguire either way.
So before we move on to our Minora review, Moana, we've got our Patreon shoutouts of the week.
This week they go out to Neil, who is at InMattZ68, and John, who is at John72Tex.
Huge thanks to Neil and John, who I've been watching some of their stuff lately this week. Neil just ran, and you'll relate to it more, and correct me if I'm wrong, but 3 5Ks?
Mm-hmm.
Is that, will you just run 3 in a row? I don't know how those are constructed.
I don't know, because he could have either run 3 5Ks or a 15K.
Or, well, it showed the times, like, first 5K, these are the times, second 5. So maybe it's a 15K and they break it up by 5.
That's probably what they did. Which is still amazing. You were telling me his times were like 10-something that he was averaging?
Like 10 and a half
minutes. And that's amazing. I can run 10 and a half minutes for like a mile, and then I'm done. So I applaud you. That's really, really amazing. If you want to buy my marathon off of me for January, we can talk.
And John, we were talking, he works at a comic shop as well, discussing Funko Pops recently. I think they're starting to wane. And we had predicted this about a year ago when Spencer's bought up Funko and the original owner of it just became a chairman and just going to make all the fucking money.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're really starting to dig into some of the weirder franchises to create these pops out of. I think the biggest indicator, and it's always a bad sign, is when 7-Eleven and Walgreens start carrying the product. Then it's just like hyper watered down. But I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe in 3 years people still give a shit about Funko Pops. I don't think, though, that they're going to be a collectible item. I think these are essentially the Beanie Babies to the 2010s.
Yeah, I could see that. I feel what you're saying. I think that I felt a little excited for these when they first came out. I was like, oh, those are really cute. And then now I'm just like, eh. But I'm also at a different stage in life. I don't have as much disposable income. You know, I see them and I say those are cool, but then I know they're just going to sit on my shelf. So it might be different, like if we had a kid who was a little bit older, 6 or 7, where this is something they could actually play with. Because I think they'd be cool, you know, instead of having your weird muscly figures, here's this Funko Pop of this adorable Batman. I don't know. I'd play with them.
Yeah, and he mentioned that his shop was expanding on the Funko Pop section, and that's great. I think there's still money to be made for sure. I know our section at my shop is pretty huge, and we are still ordering up Pops, so fucking make money while the iron is still hot. And even us, we just bought those Batman the Animated Series Funko Pops. We haven't even talked about on here yet, but we ended up getting 2 of each because we're fucking insane. We're crazy.
Crazy for Batman the Animated Series.
And no regrets.
No,
no regrets
they're
at all.
really cool.
I don't plan on ever reselling them, and I know they're not going to be something to resell in 20 years, 10 years, but that's just something that I'm like, Batman Animated Series, it looks awesome. They're doing my characters in that style from season 1 through 3. Fucking sold, up the ass, take my fucking money. Gladly.
So thank you guys so much again for your support. Every little bit helps give you the show that you guys hear today.
Currently on Patreon, we are $12 away from goal number 3. So we are close to a website revamp where we will have a full e-commerce website and more options and more pages for the listeners out there, including a custom player where you can listen to the podcast if you'd like on the website itself, as well as your favorite app, your favorite podcatcher, iHeartRadio, iTunes, Satchel's the latest one that we're on now.
Satchel.
So it's an up-and-coming app that's still got some work to do, but we're definitely on there. Everywhere you can find us, but also iTunes. Definitely be sure to leave us a review on iTunes. We're at 23 reviews. We want to get to, you had mentioned 50. I had mentioned realistically 30 by the end of the year. So there's just a few weeks left, Brocats. If you can just take a few minutes to leave us a review on iTunes, we would really appreciate it.
If you guys want to help us out monetarily too, you can head over to patreon.com/thereasonsimebroke. For as little as $1 a month, which is 25 cents an episode, you can help us reach that next goal.
And finally, we do want to thank fandomfi.com for the help at the $5 decal tier.
But of course, guys, the best thing you can do for us is leave us a review on iTunes, like you mentioned, interact with us on Twitter, answer our silly hashtag games on Facebook. The reason we do this podcast is for all of you, so any way you can reach out to us is very much appreciated. But that will actually do it for our podcast this week. We went through all that news, all my cray-cray stories. I got the best stories. But yes, that is it for our podcast this week. Moving forward, it will be our Moana total spoiler review.
So that's it for the podcast for some of you.
Some of you. Those of you who want to hear a review of Moana, definitely stick around. Those of you who haven't seen it and say, you know what, I'm going to go see it. You know, if you need to sign off, we totes understand.
And for those wondering about our comic book review, we did have a smaller pile this week, so there wasn't anything that, like a jumping on point or some kind of one shot that we wanted to recommend. So instead, we're going to move forward with our Minora review. Moana. Sometimes when I troll, the trolling becomes the actual name. So I end up trolling myself.
Yes.
Perfect example was fucking Ink Master earlier today on Hulu.
He calls it Tattoo Kings all the time. And he couldn't find the episode on Hulu to pull up to watch, so he goes to the search bar and he starts typing in Tattoo Kings. And I went, you mean Ink Master? And he's like, well, fuck.
And that just happened with Minora.
Trolled you with your own troll.
That's fine. As long as I'm trolling someone. Jeez. Except I don't get upset at my own. All right, so Moana.
Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea. I am
Hero of men.
What?
It's actually Maui, shapeshifter, demigod of the wind and sea, hero of men. I interrupted from the top. Hero of men. Go.
The latest from Walt Disney Animation, not Pixar.
Not Pixar.
Pixar just came out with Finding Dory, so it's going to be, I think next year is when we're going to get another Pixar film. But Moana was the last time they did one of these Disney animation. Was it Frozen?
Zootopia. No.
Okay, well,
yeah, Zootopia was Disney, wasn't it?
Yes, but it might have been a different team under Walt Disney Animation.
Okay,
I'm not
so
sure.
then yeah,
but
it
yes,
would
it's
have
from
been
Disney itself. But this felt like Hawaiian Frozen. I don't know if you get that same vibe as far as the character designs on it, and even the music. The music, I almost wanted to be like, is this the same singer from Let It Go? Because some of those songs felt very reminiscent. But I want to give an overview of the movie itself. It's the plot of someone, not a princess, but the daughter of the chief of the island, who has this attraction to leaving the island. So it's almost like your typical Disney princess story in which they want something more than what they're used to. And we get that with Beauty and the Beast, Little Mermaid, and with Moana. And her father's whole thing is, no, we don't leave the island provides for us. There's no reason for us to leave. And we've come to find out that it's because of tragedy that he was met with as a child or as a younger person when he tried to leave the island. So that's his overprotectiveness, and as a result, it causes her to want to leave the island even more. But then we get into the myth part of the whole legend of the whole story, and this is where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson comes in which he's a demigod that helped create the earth, helped give humans more options and really enjoyments in life. And the result of this is him trying to do too much for humanity and ending up screwing the future of humans. And that's where we cut into Moana, the, I guess, present time. Life is slowly dying. It's being corrupted by a darkness. And this is all due to The Rock's character, who stole a life stone from what is essentially God herself in this story.
Mm-hmm. And of course, then it follows the usual format that you see where she follows her heart, she's met with adversity, she finds strength and overcomes, and ultimately saves the day.
Before a down point that I never enjoy in these, and we get into Wreck-It Ralph, which is another Walt Disney feature, and a lot of the kids' movies, where we hit a high point, they stop, they struggle, there's this sad moment where they just have to inner reflect, and before they can come and get the conflict. To me, it's just, as I've been seeing this as a child, I'm sick of it. I'm tired of it, and I don't know if this is something that they have to have, and I don't know if audiences expect it moving from this, but we've seen movies like Zootopia where you don't have to have, Zootopia had it too, though.
Yeah, I think that's just what you see typically from kids' movies, and it's a good format for a kids' movie. It's very simple to follow. You understand what to expect, the highs and the lows. Again, this movie is not really made for us as the audience. It's made for children, and I think for a kids' movie, it was great. It had catchy music. It was easy to follow. I thought it looked really pretty.
Yes,
for an
the animation was
film.
Beautiful.
It was very, very pretty. So for a kids' movie, yeah, it was great. Was it a format that we've seen a million times?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Much like Frozen, and I enjoyed this a little bit more than Frozen, but I will not be watching Moana again, nor will we be buying it on Blu-ray. I guess it's fine as a family movie. Don't expect Pixar quality, I guess, out of this, even though some people are confusing them a little bit. Zootopia was probably the best animated movie this year. Better than Finding Dory, better than Kubo, and better than Moana as well. But if you do have, I'll tell you what, if you liked Frozen, you will like Moana. And I think that's a safe statement.
I will say something that I enjoyed probably most about this movie is it was a female main character. There was absolutely no love interest whatsoever.
True.
And I appreciated that this village that she came from, they were prepping her to be the next chief. It wasn't, since we didn't have a boy. It wasn't, well, you're our only child, so this is what, it was just, you're my child, you are the next chief.
They could have easily gone the lazy route of, this is her love interest on the island. This is who she grew up with, who's going to be the future chief and her husband. Right. But yeah, they didn't go with that.
No, they made it very much about her growth. I mean, there were supporting characters, but apart from her grandmother, she really didn't need anybody to help her, guide her, or tell her, this is what you should do. She definitely didn't need to rely on a man, even with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson's character. You know, he was there to be the muscle, and half the time she was telling him to man up.
Yeah.
And figuring out how to work through these adversities, without him. And so I did appreciate it for that, because as a woman, I feel that it is just important to show girls that you don't have to be, a princess waiting for a prince to show up and take care of you.
Yeah. You
can go and take care of it yourself. And we're seeing that more in movies.
And I think if we had a daughter, we would appreciate that even more, because you want to empower them with that. You don't ever want your child, no matter if it's a man or a woman, to have to rely on someone else for them to feel like they're special or stronger. Right. And yeah, you're right. We're seeing a trend that is changing, and that's a good thing out of Moana. The other thing too is I whispered to you in the theater that 10 years ago we would not have seen a tattooed character in a Disney film. Absolutely. And we never would have guessed that to happen. And it's here. And as far as I know, there wasn't some kind of parental movement of bitching parents. Right.
So, he's tattooed. And they even show like somebody being tattooed too. I was like, hi, baby. So yeah, I haven't heard anything negative about that. I will say his tattoos, while they were cool, the fact that they interacted with him wasn't really my favorite. I can get how kids would have thought it was really funny. I was just kind of like,
I thought it was cool. I like little tattoo Maui.
Yeah? Did you like him? Nah. It wasn't my favorite.
I think that sums it up, the movie overall, though. Just not our favorite. Not a bad movie. Not amazing.
I'm I'm happy that we saw it. Probably knowing what I know now, I would have waited for it to come out on Netflix and rented it that way.
Mm-hmm.
But we enjoy going to the theater and getting our big old popcorn and kicking our feet up in those nice recliners.
Burkheads are like, what fucking recliners? What theaters are you going to
listen,
when they have fucking recliners?
We got the best theater. Cheap ass Tuesdays and recliners.
You know, there's theaters now where just to make us feel like it's not that amazing. And I still think those recliners are too good for audiences, including myself. Like I used to work in a movie theater, and I still think people are probably breaking these fucking things all the time. That's what I mean by too good, because people are just going to break them because they're not. It's not theirs. They're not going to treat them as well. But there are theaters where they have smells to go with what's going on in the movie, but also like fake snow for scenes in which there's snow.
Really?
I don't know. They're like Senso Vision. I don't know what the
they're
actual
like $20
title of it is.
a ticket or something.
But yeah, they're expensive. I don't know if that's going to be the future of movies, and I haven't experienced one yet.
I'm going to Google this right now. Senso Vision is what I'm typing
I doubt
into.
that's actually what it is. But
Senso Vision.
But otherwise, that is our review for Moana, Minora, whatever you want to end up calling it. And also, that does wrap it up for our podcast this week.
Sensovision. Oh, maybe that's not a real thing. I'm sorry. So yes, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you for tuning in every week. Again, we do this podcast for you guys. So thank you for listening and giving us something to do.
For the Empire, I am Darth Vaydaniel.
And I am Emperor Kelli.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter at Reasons I'm Broke or at Kelli. Facebook.com/The Reasons I'm Broke. But for a link to everywhere you can find us, head on over to TheReasonsI'mBroke.com. Thank you again, and we'll see you next week.